They may wear costumes, but it isn't Halloween. They're real-life superheroes.
Me and Hit Girl were training every day. There were more and more people joining us every night.
Colonel Stars and Stripes reporting for duty.
A world full of superheroes, huh? Where do they get a load of me? I am gonna make Kick-Ass pay for what he did to my dad. You want more? I'm building an evil army. I'll bring you more. Who is this guy?
I'm gonna be the world's first real supervillain.
Hello everyone, my name is Leon, and this is my review for Kick-Ass 2. Now, a few years have passed since the events of the first movie, and what has happened is that Kick-Ass has inspired many other people to don their own masked characters and start fighting crime as they see it. And that in turn has also been a rise to villains. Villains have also come up and created their own personas, and with that, Christopher Mintz-Plaza's character assembles his own band of villains to wage war against Kick-Ass and his crew of heroes. Now, what I like about this film is that it really kept true to the tone of the original, of the themes of what it means to be a superhero in the real world, and it's more than just cape and costume and cowl. And the problem I had with the first one, in fact, is that it tried to be that. It tried to be the actual human beings fighting actual crime and the consequences of that. And it did that for the first half of the film, and later would go into just threw that out the window when they started doing impossible feats with rocket launchers and jetpacks. And here they stayed more true to that. And by the way, if you do want to see a film that does keep true to the themes of what it means to be a superhero with no powers in the real world, films like Defendor and Super work out too. I know Super is in Netflix right now. It stars Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page, so check that out if you got Netflix. It does that well, but as a whole, the film is still not as great as the original. The original had these just breathtaking moments of action where I held my breath and just like gripped tight on whatever it is I was holding. And that was like when Hit Girl was coming to save her father, and Kick-Ass, as well as the climax at the end. And the climax in this ending was just as great, but it took a lot of work to get there. Now, the actors and the direction were really on point. They even though it's been about maybe 3 or 4 years since they did the last film, they still had the same amount of chemistry and the same feel towards their characters. And the real problem, I think, was the writing. The problem with the writing is that so much was happening. There were so many like little stories, and trying to fit them all in under one umbrella, and it just didn't work out. And the thing is they had the subplot of Hit Girl trying to fit into the real world, of trying to fit in with these girls and have this sort of like banter of like on the vein of Mean Girls. And the thing is, in the comics, Hit Girl has her own comic. That's a spin-off. And Kick-Ass 2 it's all about Kick-Ass. And they combined that in Kick-Ass 2 in the film version. And knowing that and watching this film, I was thinking to myself, it would have been just better to make a Hit Girl spin-off movie. I would pay money to see that. And I don't know why they did that, because the problem is that it was just not enough of it, and it hindered from the rest of the story. No doubt, it was great. I wanted to see the trials and problems Hit Girl was facing, especially with the real world, because she's faced killers, murderers, rapers, bombers, everything, but teenage girls are on a completely different level. And it was great. I wanted to see that, but it was just not enough. I wanted it to be expanding. And when in this film, it just was more of just an afterthought than an actual story. It could have been something much more. and since it was basically wasted potential, and not only was that wasted potential, it hindered on the rest of the story of Kick-Ass and his army of heroes combating the motherfucker and his army of villains. And going back to the actors, Jim Carrey was really great in his role, and he played it really well. He wasn't his typical Jim Carrey. He knew the character well, and I wanted to see more of him. He was supposed to be sort of the replacement of Big Daddy. There wasn't enough of him. I wanted to see more of it, just like Yuriko from Wolverine that I saw a few weeks ago. I wanted to see more of Colonel Stars and Stripes. Now, the actor that, again, this is probably the writing, but the actor that just wasn't up to par as the rest of them was Christopher Mintz-Plasse. I think the ironic thing is he was the over-actor. It wasn't Jim Carrey. He was the over-actor. And it's a shame because towards the end there were like subtle moments where I felt some kind of sympathy for the character. And I just think it was hindered from just the sheer just yelling and screaming and just demanding persona that he was in this film, because it's completely different. He was the shy, wanting to be part of something big but wasn't able to. Now he is part of something big, and it was overkill of how it was portrayed. And again, it might just be the writing, and it might be the actor, or a little bit of both. Even though the actors and the characters are so incredible in this film, I just think it was just too much character and actors. And with comic books, you can get away with that. There's no time limit to how long you read comics, but there is one of how you watch a film. And there are just so many littered characters, basically plot device characters, or woman in the fridge characters that was just meant to be killed so you could further one character, or just meant to be the plot device for the story. And in fact, some were just really just throwaway, just to give 4 lines. For example, Lindsay Fonseca's character of Kick-Ass's girl in the before, she was like a pivotal role in the last film. Here she has maybe 4 lines again, and that was a hindrance to it. Hindered the story as a whole. And even though I hated to say these, but these characters were so great, I wanted to see more of them, but it just did not completely encapsulate the story. It affected the story, and the too much characters affected the characters of other potentially great characters. For example, there was like a gallery of maybe 4 or 5 villains that get a little bit of background, but really the standout of them was definitely Mother Russia. She was incredible, the way she acted, the way she was performed, the way she just was badass. I had a kick watching Mother Russia, and the other villains that were featured along with Mother Russia really didn't do much. They just appeared, and that was it. Mother Russia was the only one who was any crucial role. In fact, they could have just done away with those guys and focused mostly on Mother Russia, and that would have been even better. It could have been a very kind of Ivan Drago type of villain, and she was, but they could have given her that sort of presentation. All in all, this film is a worthy sequel. Definitely not as good as the first, but hey, what sequels are? So there you have it. My review for Kick-Ass 2. Keep watching for Leon Knows Films. I'm Leon. Peace. I'm out.